will be listening and hearing from another beautiful woman who is also an industry specialist. She's the head consultant and CEO of BDZ Properties Limited. She's got 18 years of experience in the real estate. This beautiful woman, I'm watching and I'm thinking, wow, I've never heard of a chartered valuation and estate surveyor before. Awesome. We've got women doing the most in this country. She's passionate about inspiring young minds, and that's why she's also here with us to share her mind, to inspire us, and to ensure that by the time we leave here with something solid. Let's put our hands together for the beautiful Aba Amoa.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. So, chartered valuation and estate surveyor, simply put, I'm a valuer. I value properties. Yes, so my name is Aba Amoa. I have been introduced. And boy, this has been an amazing conference. I've been enjoying myself. Can you put a round of your hands together for... Yeah. It's been a very pleasant morning. I have been inspired. And, the theme for the conference is Educate, Empower, Inspire, right? And so far, I think we've been doing that. So I felt like, I'm this chick lady, young and all. And then Anne comes in, and then after her presentation, I'm like, okay, she really pushed me to the old school region, because I realized that I have more presence on Facebook than on Instagram or the other networks. So I'm like, okay, wow, I have been educated. And then Hannah comes in and, empowers us and says that we should build home ownership one day at a time. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it. One house at a time, I'm going to build it. And then Malika comes in and then inspires me and says that I should say yes and later figure out a way to do it. So guess who is building the next gated community in cantonments? Awesome. It's been an amazing time. And now let's get ready to have some technical conversation. Somebody say technical conversation. Yes. So I have been introduced. I'm a chartered valuation and estate surveyor. I'm a property consultant, and I'm the CEO of BDZ Properties, where, of course, we do valuation of properties. We do facilities management. Any facilities managers in the house? Yeah. There's none? Who? Yeah, Lady R, yes. To facilities management, yes. So we are going to get schooled a little bit. And then for those who are aspiring to go into facilities management, yes, you can do some listening. So by way of this presentation, I'm going to talk about what facilities management is. I'm going to talk about its impact on an organization, and then I'll talk about its impact on property values, and then we can move on to the gender conversation, right? Okay. So one may ask, what is facilities management? Now, before I even go into the definition, a facility is any building, place, premises, built for a specific purpose, especially commercial. So you can talk about block of flats or apartments, you can talk about schools, you can talk about stadium, you can talk about hospital, any edifice, building, premises that is built for a particular purpose is a facility. And so facilities management is defined as an organizational function. There are lots of definitions, but I adopted the one by ISO, the ISO definition in 2017. And it says that facilities management is defined as an organizational function that integrates people, places, and processes within the built environment to improve people's quality of life and the productivity of their core business. Simply put, facilities management means taking care of the building and the people in it. So that's what facilities managers do. We take care of the building and then the people in it so that they'll be able to achieve their core. Their core is whatever reason brought them. If it's an office building, if it's a bank, their core is to take people's money, give them interest, manage people's finances. But we take care of the building, and we make sure that the building is able to support the people in there so that they can deliver their services, right? So this is what facilities management entails. So we have planning and construction design, we have leasing, we have plumbing. We have to make sure that everything is working well. The toilets, the taps are flowing, electricals, everything is on point. HVAC, that's heating, ventilation, and air condition. We have preventive maintenance, which is very important to keep the property in a good state. And then we have maintenance requests, we have capital improvement. Those are the hard facilities management services. And then on the flip side, we have the soft facilities management services, which include space planning. That's where Malika fits in, interior design and all of that. We have security, we have catering, we have environmental health and safety, we have waste management, cleaning, sanitation, groundskeeping, mail management, regulatory compliance. So all these are embedded in facilities management, and it is the role of the facilities manager to coordinate all these functions so that once you come and sit in the building, if you're a banker and you come and sit in the building, you are comfortable, everything is working well, you have your peace of mind to concentrate on your core and what you are doing. So this definition means that facilities managers are required to understand the business and the operations of the business and the organizations they serve, and to know and understand the facilities that they manage. For instance, if you're managing, let's say, a mall, Accra Mall, for instance, if you are the facilities manager, you know that it is very crucial. There are a lot of people who come to the mall. There's a lot of traction to the mall. And so imagine what would happen if the plumbing works go wrong and then all the toilets are not working. It will be a disaster. Something like that, yes. So you have to be on point, know your facility, know what sustains your building. If you are the facilities manager of an institution that does, say, maybe medicine, pharmaceutical company, where you have to freeze certain stuff, you know that lights must not go off. Otherwise, it's going to affect the business, heavily. So that is where facilities management comes in. Know your building, know the business operations, so that those who are working in there can concentrate and have a peace of mind to deliver. So why do we need a facilities manager in an organization? We've mentioned a few things. One, to support and enhance organizational performance, yes, so that they can concentrate on their core, I said that. And then to preserve the investment which people put in buildings. A lot of money goes into putting up buildings, and so you do not want a poorly maintained house to rob you of your investment. And so you need to maintain. There are different kinds of maintenance, which we can delve into that later. We have preventive maintenance, we have routine maintenance, we have scheduled maintenance. Scheduled maintenance in the form of painting, making sure that aesthetically it looks good. And apart from painting, preserves the wall as well. If there's dampness, you have to do that. If there's a gen set, you have to make sure there's always, you don't wait till it breaks down. You don't do corrective maintenance, but you do preventive maintenance. All of that preserves the building and the investments that you put in it. So it also provides a safe and secure environment that reduces operating expenses and increases productivity. It upholds social responsibility about environmental and social impact of an organization's operation. So because facilities management thinks about the people in the building, usually sometimes there's a thin line between facilities management and HR, because we also care about the people. And corporate social responsibility, if there's a facilities manager in a building or an organization, it is a duty of the facilities manager to ensure that corporate social responsibility is done. So what we know about corporate social responsibility is maybe giving out, what we do, donations, orphanages, and all of that. But to a large extent, employing the people around, giving back to the society where the institution finds itself, is also corporate social responsibility. And so if you are doing, say, a refurbishment of your property, and you need to employ the people around. So you are giving back to the community. And all this it's the facilities manager who coordinates all of that. And then prevents avoidable loss and comply with legal requirements through risk management. The facilities manager is in charge of lease agreements, lease renewal, depending on the kind of corporation or what you do. All the permits that you need and all of that, the facilities manager does that, so he's very needed. In fact, by default, every facilities manager I mentioned is a she. It's a woman's room, isn't it? Right. So now we've looked at the effects of facilities management on the organization. Now we are looking at the effect on the property, the building itself. And I'm very happy to do this particular presentation because I want to use this as a case study. There was one time when we all know that when we maintain buildings right, their value become higher than a poorly maintained property, right? Okay, we know that. But then we are not able to quantify by how much or by what percentage is a better maintained property over a less maintained property. We really do not know that. And so some years back, I was commissioned to do evaluation of a property at Committee 8 in Regimanuel. I was commissioned to do evaluation of a property there. And I realized that the homeowner bought two properties, same properties. It's a gated community, so it's the same thing, semi-detached homes. And he gave one out for rent. Once he bought it, I think a year later or a few months later, he gave one out for rent. And then there were no clauses. There were no rent agreement, maintenance culture, nothing in the agreement. And then a few months after that, he gave the other one to a company. And the company rented it for one of their senior members. And the company had a facilities manager already. And so as part of his duties, he was supposed to maintain their senior staff's property. So there was a really mapped out plan on how the property maintenance practices, painting, everything was well documented because it was for a company. And so now, after a couple of years of rent, I think 17 years or so, the company decided to buy the property off the owner for the company, so that every time they would have their staff members live there. And so I was commissioned to do the valuation of that property so that he knows how much he should sell it for. And that was when I realized that he had another similar property that was not in a good condition. So I was curious. And so I took it up upon myself to do evaluation of the other one for free, just so that I can quantify the amount of money he's lost in allowing that property to be poorly maintained. So that is what we have here. So that's the case study, one in aesthetically excellent condition, while the other appears poorly maintained. So, of course, like I said, the study sought to quantify the effect of lack of maintenance, what's the effect that the lack of maintenance can have on a property. Now, before we even go into it, we all know we have a fair idea of what maintenance is. But the British Standard Glossary of Terms defines maintenance as a combination of actions carried out to retain an item in or to restore it to an acceptable standard. So I mentioned earlier, there are some maintenance practices that you do to keep the property in good shape, and there are some emergency ones that happens and you have to attend to it. Yes. Okay, so I did a physical inspection. Of course, before you do valuation, you have to do a physical inspection of the property, and this is what I realized. On house A1, the one that was poorly maintained. The house was in a bad state. There was fungi on the floors. The walls were not in good condition. They were not painted. windows, louver blades were coming out, there were plumbing issues, AC was making noise, hinges. It was a disaster. Thank you very much. It was a disaster. So yeah, the pictures. And then I took a look at the other one, has A2. Yeah, so this was the other property belonging to the same person. So the lawns were neat, the house was painted. You can see that everything, is on point. Yes. Okay, so these were my findings. I got the record of maintenance works from the facilities manager, and this is what they did. So in the first year, from 1999 to 2003, they spent 4,000 on maintenance. From 2004 to 2000. So it's like they had a well-mapped out plan. They recorded everything. So at the end of the 17 years, they had spent 40,150 on maintenance. So averagely, it was like they spent 2,363 on maintenance. Meanwhile, on the other property, because there was no maintenance clause, it was just done anyhow. Maybe if the tenant there's something leaking, if they want to fix it, they can fix it. The landlord tells me that there were a few times when they did maintenance, but everything didn't even come up to 10,000 Ghana cedis, So these were the findings on the two properties. So after my evaluation and key considerations, now the property, the A1 property, which was poorly maintained, had a market value of 368,000, and then A2 had a market value of 512,000. So there you have it. The difference was 144,000. After spending about 40,000 on maintenance, this is what you get. And then that means that they had a loss of about 28.13% on the value of the property over time. And when I was doing the evaluation, I realized that once A1 was appreciating, A2 was depreciating by 1%, coincidentally, And then when I did the rental valuation, I realized that they had a loss of about 10% so if somebody is willing to rent a house like that at Regimanuel for this much, this particular poorly maintained property they were willing to take it up for 10% less because of the lack of maintenance. So these were my findings, and this is my work, and so I can speak to it on authority. So I realized that lack of inspection and proper diagnosis of maintenance problems causes properties to deteriorate by that margin. It could be worse, depending on the maintenance practices that are performed on property. And then I just said that the formulation and implementation of tenancy agreements is key for a good maintenance culture. Yeah, so based on that work, my recommendations were that a tenancy agreement which incorporates achievable repair clauses on short-term basis as well as long-term culture should be embedded in agreements. A short-term culture may include corrective, preventive, and routine maintenance. And then the long-term culture may include scheduled major overhauling. It could even be a whole refurbishment. But there must be something that is included in the rent agreement to take care of maintenance of properties. And then I also said enforcement of the agreement either by both landlord and tenant or engaging services of a professional. And then lastly, a sinking fund should be set aside for maintenance works, especially from properties that generate income. There's a 1% maintenance rule that says that for every income that you are making on a property, set 1% aside so that you use that to maintain the property. That is how your property will appreciate. Now, so we move to the gender conversation. And this says the African woman is more ideal as a facilities manager. And here's why. Some of the facility, okay, so Lady R is here. Maybe you can bear witness to me on that. Whether we can agree to it or not, men and women are different in terms of certain character traits. And by virtue of our character trait, I think that the woman and for that matter, the African woman, is more ideal as a facilities manager than the man. Unfortunately, the statistics is the opposite. Not many women are into facilities management. In fact, in Ghana, I think it's 24%. Worldwide, I think it's 22% or so, which is sad, So we are empathetic, yes. We take care of the building and the people in it. And you know how women are, that's our motherly nurturing abilities. People are more inclined to talk to women about issues than men. And so that is one reason why I feel like facilities managers are better if they are women than men. And then we have the decision-making skills. We are born managers. You can all attest to the fact, for those of us who have families, that we multitask a lot. Sometimes even making a decision of when to do your next touch-up or when to go to the salon, what to cook, even within the week. It's a major decision. And I do brokerage as well. And most of the time, when families want to buy homes or rent homes, the men come first, and then they're like, okay, I'll bring the madam to come and have a look at it so that we can decide on it. We make the decisions anyway. So why don't you put us in the building so that we make the decisions concerning the buildings, So yes, and then we are risk averse. Well, I would say that in life, this may be a weakness for women because let's say you want to go into the area of business. Business is risk in itself, and so you should be prepared to take risk. But then in the facilities management setting, this could be an advantage because women, statistics show that women don't like taking risk. And so you know what men can do? Maybe if it's time to service a gen set, or something, they can say that, oh, yeah, man, 1 week being home. Maybe it will go 1 more week. But a woman will be like, hey, no, I don't want it to break down. I am servicing it, Even driving. How many men actually go to driving school? They just pick a car and before you know it, they're on there. But a woman wants to go to a driving school. I want to do it right, So here, that works for us, in that sense. And then we have emotional intelligence. They say women are emotional. Maybe yes, but at the end of the day, we are intelligent. We have emotional intelligence because our egos don't come in the way. Men have ego, and whatever you tell them, they are not. I'm sorry, men, but hey. Yeah. But, women, we have emotional intelligence. We tend to listen more, and all of that. So that right there is the reason why I feel like the African woman is more ideal as a facilities manager. Like I said earlier, the numbers don't work for us. And in real estate as a whole, we all know in every aspect of real estate, people see some jobs as blue jobs for men and others as pink jobs for the women. Construction, I keep saying, I said it on our radio interview, only 3% of women are into construction. And if you see a woman at a construction site, she's selling food to the men. You don't see a woman being a mason, actually involved in the construction. We are just, And so it's the same when it comes to facilities management. It's unfortunate, but the numbers don't go well for us. Now, IFMA, by the way, is International Facilities Management Association. Yes, they released a new global workforce report that revealed that women account for 22%. That's what I said earlier on. In Ghana, it's about 24%. And so I ask, is there a glimmer of hope? Will it ever get better? And I can answer and say yes, it could, because if you look at the statistics, I was looking at US, and in America, the numbers work well for the women than in Ghana. And I was looking at the statistics, and then I realized that way back, some years back, women were not even allowed to join the National Association of Realtors. So if you're a woman realtor, the numbers, they were not many, and so they were not even allowed to join the association. But then with time, I think in the 90s, we had the first woman joining, and now 64% of realtors in America are women. And so there's a glimmer of hope for us. With time, with conferences like this, women empowering women, women blazing the trail, setting a good example, other women following suit, we can get there someday, Now, challenges faced by the woman facilities manager. I'm sure we'll discuss that into detail during our panel discussion, but let me just touch on a few of that. So the lack of representation of women is a challenge in itself, is a challenge because women want to see women win. So they want to aspire to be that woman who is winning in real estate, who is doing so well. Like Hannah is bagging awards. And so there's somebody here who is looking up to her and be like, oh, if Hannah was able to do it, I can too. So if more women are empowered, are made to understand that real estate is not for men. We can all do it. We sit in the same classrooms. In my land economy class, there were men and there were women. So when we come out as valuers, what that man can do, I can also do. And so we have to encourage each other. We have to go to the schools. We have to let our voices be heard, however we can, we should do that. And then pay gap. When I learned about this, I was very, very, very disappointed that in the corporate setting, a female facilities manager earns less than a male facilities manager with the same level of education, seniority, and everything. I'm like, how? Why? So I'm like, no, so this is not even a gender issue. It is a human rights issue. Yeah. It is a poverty alleviation issue because you need money, I need money. Why are you giving me less than the man? Like up to 10%. I know, right? So it's a challenge. It's very unfortunate. And then we have harassment and discrimination, you know how it is sometimes. You are going to bid for a job and, somebody says, hello, dear, and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, look at what the proposal I brought. Look at the merits. Look at my track record. Stop calling me dear. That kind of thing. So these are like a few challenges, that we face. And then finding balance between family life and work. That one, it will always be there. Women are supposed to work as if they do not have family. And in their family setting, they are supposed to take care of their family as if they don't have a job. It's always a challenge. But then we have to find a balance, some way, somehow, do some magic, find a fine balance between the two. So that if you are in a house and you are overwhelmed, because I believe that you have to give off your best wherever you find yourself. Let's not add to the numbers. Let's say, we want more women in. Yes, the woman is there. You are the facilities. Are you delivering? Have you built capacity? So that a man will not say that, look, we gave the opportunity to the woman and she's not performing. We have to build capacity. We have to give off our bed. So if it means getting a house help at home, by all means do that. Don't say me, I don't like house. And, we take pride in the fact I have 3 children. I don't have a house help. To what end? How are you? To what end? How will you be able to excel at your job, do what you do? Exactly. And if you are doing your own job, to get an assistant, get help so that you can excel at both ends. There should be balance everywhere. That's required of us. So we have to do it. Okay, so how to overcome that? I think I've mentioned some of them. Build your self-confidence, be bold and speak up, ask to be given a seat at the table. Don't be shy. Sometimes women like to share credits. If you say, you've done a good job. You see, if not for this person, I wouldn't have done it. Own your stuff. Thank you. Smile and say thank you. Yeah, exactly, So be yourself, build capacities, women empowerment conferences like this, get trainings, then we can keep learning so that you excel at what you do. partner other women who can support you and empower you. It's very, very important. We have to take care of our own, you know. So I'm into brokerage. Hannah is into brokerage. If she has a property that she thinks I may have clients who may need it, you know, we do collaborations here and there. We partner to do events, you know, that kind of thing. Let us encourage ourselves. I say that if 3 women were able to put these women here under this space, then 10 women can build a gated community. 20 women can put up a city. We can do it. Let's partner ourselves and let's get this done. And then take risks. I said it's women are risk averse, but let's try to be able to make an impact. We have to be bold and take some amount of risk. If you want to be an entrepreneur, by all means, venture into it. You know, take some risk. And then when you're starting your business, you don't know how it's going to go, but you do it anyway, because chances are that you might survive and you might do well, you know. So this is how I conclude. I saw a video where Oprah Winfrey says, become so skilled, so vigilant, so flat out fantastic at what you do that your talent cannot be dismissed. For me, I believe in the content, what you are able to do. Much as we are touting women do this, women empowerment, we want, if you're giving the opportunity, if you're giving the seat, can you deliver? How can we do that? Let's build capacity. Thank you.
Thank you.